From the Samson Production Studios in the heart of Hazleton, Pennsylvania, it's your News 13.
Brought to you by SSPTV and the Standard Speaker.
3 days into this week and 3 violent incidents in the city of Hazleton. 1 shooting, 2 stabbings. The latest violence in the city, our top story on News 13 for this Wednesday. Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Kathy Bazinski. This time, it's a Hazleton woman who's behind bars tonight after she stabbed her boyfriend with a fork last night. Hazleton police say 49-year-old Ann Farnish was in the middle of an argument with her 48-year-old boyfriend in their apartment on North Wyoming Street when she picked up a fork and stabbed him. Police converged on the apartment just after 10 last night, and they found the boyfriend stabbed in his chest with that fork. He was rushed to the hospital for treatment.
For whatever reason, last night, the argument ended up with her reportedly stabbing him in the chest with a fork one time. I don't know exactly what they were arguing over. What I do know is it's a crime. No matter what you're arguing over, you cannot stab someone with a fork. She was arrested, charged, and then taken to Luzerne County Correctional Facility on an overnight arraignment.
And Farnish is in the Luzerne County Correctional Facility, charged with aggravated assault, simple assault, and reckless endangerment. No word on the condition of her boyfriend today. The district attorney's office is working alongside law enforcement officials to help solve crimes across Luzerne County and a prime focus on Greater Hazleton. Christina Papa explains how those forces have set up camp in the area.
Where are we going? Is it ever going to get better?
District Attorney Stephanie Salavantis is spearheading a change to help unify law enforcement across the county. And she means business.
If you want to commit a crime, that's fine, but we will be there to prosecute you.
Today, the DA shared her everyday work schedule with Hazleton's chamber during a breakfast at Sand Springs and Drums. Since Salavantis has taken office, there has been a spike in certain crimes, but she's not backing down from the fight.
Well, we're not going to deal with it anymore. We're going to prosecute. We're going to arrest you for any crime that you're committing, and we're going to show that we're not going to deal with it anymore.
Salavantis works hand in hand with police across the county on cases that can't be solved unless law enforcement teams work together.
I wanted to make sure that everybody was working well together. All law enforcement, they're all communicating with each other.
The district attorney's push for law enforcement to work together across city borders has been heard, and in fact, a new office space has been put in right here at City Hall so that Salavantis can keep a watchful eye on this area in southern Luzerne County.
Setting up camp right here in Hazleton will let Salavantis and her team stay close to the cases that happen around the area.
I wanted an office down here in southern Luzerne County in City Hall of Hazleton because I wanted people to know there is a presence by the district attorney, that we are here and we mean business.
For city officials, this recognition is long overdue. They're glad to see the county initiating a cleanup in this area.
She's finally one of the only district attorneys that have really recognized Hazleton. Hazleton has always been the lost section of the county.
We get along very well with the police department in Hazleton and the surrounding areas. We help each other out. So I think it's going to be a good asset for us here in West Hazleton too.
Salavantis wants the community to know she's dedicated to preventing crime and her door is always open, even if it means working overtime. Christina Papa, News 13, Drums.
More witnesses testified today at Schuylkill County Court in the case of the Schuylkill Haven murderer who tied his victim to a tree. Prosecutors charged Keith Reber of Schuylkill Haven with criminal homicide. He also faces a slew of other charges like aggravated assault, kidnapping, conspiracy, and prohibited possession of a firearm. Today in court, his lawyer argued that Brian Smith, who died after being tied to a tree, could have died from an overdose on meth and not from rebar, but the toxicologist wouldn't call it plausible. She said that was impossible to determine. Also on the witness stand today was a state police officer who instigated the murder scene and found evidence nearly in a plastic trash bag. If convicted of either of the most serious charges, first or second degree murder, Reber faces a mandatory prison sentence of life without parole. Federal grand jury in Scranton Return has officially charged a federal prison inmate with the murder of a corrections officer from Nanticoke. Jury charged 36-year-old Jesse Kanui with first-degree murder in the death of federal corrections officer Eric Williams. The indictment charges him with killing Williams on February 25th while the guard was on duty at the Canaan Federal Correction Facility in Wayne County. It also charges that the attack by Kanui was premeditated. Eric Williams was killed as he was making a head count of the prison unit as the inmates were preparing for bed. The Bureau of Corrections says that the young guard was beaten and stabbed repeatedly with a homemade knife. If convicted, Kanui faces a maximum penalty of life in prison or the death penalty. Well, who should man the metal detectors being installed at all schools in the Hazleton Area School District? That was one of the big questions on the agenda at Tuesday night's school board meeting. The Hazleton Area Board made the decision in the wake of the Connecticut school shootings to install metal detectors at all district schools. Metal detectors have been in place in high school for several years. The big question now was, should the new metal detectors placed in the elementary and middle schools be operated by armed school resource officers or unarmed security officers?
Senators are pushing for it. They want one in every elementary school. Do I go along with it? If anybody knows me that I work with, they know I don't like guns. Okay? I'm qualified. I've used it. I know how to use it. And I know when to use it. But do I like it? No.
And the board settled on Plan B, which involved unarmed security personnel at metal detectors throughout the district. The board also acted on funding for the new STEM school and salaries for staff members. Well, it was an election night mistake that now means an election do-over for Schuylkill and Carbon counties. It's all because the director of elections in Luzerne County didn't know that the Hazleton Area School District includes parts of Schuylkill and Carbon. So when Steve Hahn withdrew as a candidate, Luzerne County didn't tell the other counties. He was kept on the ballot, and votes that could have gone to other candidates were cast for Hahn. Now, the Luzerne County courts say the election in Schuylkill and Carbon counties must be done again, but in Schuylkill County, the attitude is people can make mistakes.
I'm just happy that the voters will actually get to have their say in the voting. It was an unfortunate situation. However, I think that it's been handled very professionally.
An equal vote, you got to make sure that the people, that their vote counts. And if a mistake was made, that the correction is being made, and things will move on so that it's a fair, equal election.
People in the Election Bureau have a tough job. And again, the people's voice will be heard. And I think the route that they are taking is a good route to do the absentees from that standpoint.
And as a result, there will be a new election in Schuylkill and Carbon counties for the Hazleton Area School Board in the next month. Luzerne County's former director of elections has now filed a wrongful termination suit against the county. Leonard Piazza filed the complaint against the county in federal court yesterday. Piazza was fired by county manager Robert Lawton last year. The complaint accuses Lawton of being politically aligned with controller Walter Griffith, who had been at odds with Piazza over a number of issues. Piazza was terminated in April of 2012 after he failed to document his work hours. Piazza's suit points out that his firing wasn't related to his job performance, as well as the problems which have occurred since he left, including the do-over in this year's primary for Hazleton Area School Board. Well, the Supreme Court made history today. In two decisions, the court struck down a provision of federal law denying federal benefits to married gay couples and cleared the way for California to again allow same-sex marriage. As hundreds waited outside the Supreme Court for the rulings to be announced, the justices issued 2 5-4 rulings. One decision wiped away part of the Defense of Marriage Act, which kept legally married same-sex couples from receiving tax, health, and pension benefits. The other ruled California's Proposition 8, banning gay marriage in a state which once allowed it, as unconstitutional. As you'd expect, reaction in our area deeply divided.
I do not support same-sex marriage, but I'm not saying that we hate those people. We Catholics hold to the standpoint of you hate the sin, you love the sinner.
100% for man and woman should be married, not same-sex marriages. Jesus Christ even said so in the Bible several times.
I think all love is equal. I really don't see the point in everything being separate. I mean, if they want to get married, let them get married.
I support it. I went to camp, and a couple of people that I know are actually gays and lesbians, and I fully support it. And, you know, if they love each other, why not?
Same-sex marriage has been adopted by 12 states and the District of Columbia. And still ahead on News 13, enjoy today's sunshine while you can, because while the showers continue, the rays won't. The forecast in News 13 weather. But first, amidst a huge controversy, a local township shuts down its fire department. We'll tell you why when News 13 continues. A local fire company that's been in hot water for a while has been decertified. In a controversial move last night, the Rice Township Board of Supervisors decertified the township's volunteer fire department. Supervisors say they made the move after a slew of problems with the company, including having a lack of adequately trained and qualified people residing in Rice Township, financial mismanagement, and violations of its contract with the township. Residents at last night's meeting say they're not pleased with the move, however. The township has now contracted out its fire coverage with a volunteer company in neighboring Wright Township. President Obama has outlined a new plan to tackle global warming, but not everybody's happy about it. As Matthew Petrillo tells us, it's being criticized by opponents who say it'll cost jobs in a time when the country needs them.
2012 was the warmest year in our history.
It's another attempt to make good on a campaign promise made years ago.
And we know that the costs of these events can be measured in lost lives and lost livelihoods, lost homes, lost businesses, hundreds of billions of dollars in emergency services and disaster relief.
Obama's climate change plan calls to combat global warming, and he's taking a direct aim at coal.
But power plants can still dump unlimited amounts of carbon pollution into the air for free. That's not right, that's not safe, and it needs to stop.
To achieve this, Obama is directing the Environmental Protection Agency to issue rules to cut carbon pollution from power plants. He wants to lead global efforts to work with growing economies like China and India to encourage greater use of natural gas and nuclear power. And Obama wants local and state governments all across the U.S. to prepare for the impacts of climate change already being felt. The goal, Obama says, is to reduce carbon emissions to below levels seen in the U.S. in 2005. But the coal industry says those goals aren't realistic. Greg Driscoll is president of Blashock Coal.
He's counting on things that are either far away in time, wind and solar and other things aren't here yet, and they can't possibly generate enough power anytime soon. And to put all your eggs in the basket of natural gas also creates a risk that is not worthy of us and something that we need to be cautious about.
Another point he's worried about is the president's use of language. President Obama is referring to bituminous coal in his speech, but he makes no distinction between that and anthracite coal, which is largely found in our region. And by Obama blanketing all of coal into one category and suggesting it to be dirty energy, Driscoll says the local economies surrounding the anthracite coal region here in northeastern Pennsylvania will be negatively impacted.
Power generation from coal can be clean. It can be cleaned up over the course of time, and it can be made much more friendly to the environment.
Obama says the details will be ironed out in this year with a goal of finishing climate change plans by June 2015. Matthew Petrillo, News 13, Mahanoy.
And time now for a look at regional weather from the National Weather Service. Checking the radar, pretty much what we've been seeing every day this week. Showers and thunderstorms moving through the region in the afternoon and evening. But it doesn't look like any really severe weather, at least not in our area. Tonight's creative condition makes me want to head to the beach. It's by Gregory M., no last name, a student at Hazleton Elementary Middle School, and he says it's a sunny day at the beach with the sunshine reflecting in the ocean and a rather impressive sandcastle he's got going on there. And time for a look at the weather from the National Weather Service for Greater Hazleton for tonight. A nice evening, but definitely a chance of showers and thunderstorms overnight with the low going down to 64. And for Thursday, the clouds roll in. It'll be mostly cloudy with showers and a thunderstorm through most of the day with a high up to 81. Those showers, possibly a thunderstorm right through the evening and through the overnight with a low down to 65. And for Friday, mostly cloudy again, a chance of showers and thunderstorms, high only up to 74 though. Those chance of showers and thunderstorms continue at night with a low down to 61. On Saturday, cloudy again, showers, thunderstorms likely, a high only of 75. Showers and thunderstorms continuing right through the night with a low down to 63. And then for Sunday, cloudy with showers and thunderstorms likely, a high near 76. And now heading to Schuylkill County tonight, scattered showers and thunderstorms with a low around 68. And for Thursday, cloudy with showers and thunderstorms likely, a high near 80. Showers and thunderstorms likely 3 through the overnight with a low around 67. And let's check the winning midday lottery numbers. Good luck if you played. The daily, 694. The big 4, 5820. Quinto, 01019. And the treasure hunt, 1392130. Good luck if you win.
Good evening, everyone, and here's tonight's Talk of the Town report. A few announcements for this evening. First tonight, St. John the Baptist Church in Nesquehoning will be holding a yard sale flea market on July 5th and 6th and 12th and 13th. Doors will be open from 8 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. and refreshments will also be available. The Tamaqua Area School District is currently seeking applications for the position of Assistant Cheerleading Coach for the 2013-2014 school year. Interested candidates may contact the Tamaqua Athletic Department. And finally, the Hazleton Art League will be hosting the folk band Clayton Ravine. Saturday, June 29th, 3 other bands will be joining them. Doors open at 6 p.m. with a suggested donation of just $5. Light refreshments will be served. For more info, please call 570-817-1075. That's tonight's Talk of the Town. News 13 would like to send sincere condolences to the family and friends of these recently departed. Thelma Figlin, formerly of Hazleton. Services will be held Thursday at 2 p.m. in the Gudis Israel Cemetery. The Funeral Home is handling the arrangements. Helen Belovsik of Trenton. Services are Friday at 11 a.m. from the St. Mary's Byzantine Catholic Church. Friends may call at the church from 9:30 to 11 a.m. The David D. Jarrett Funeral Home is in charge of arrangements. Paul Locke of New Boston. The Louis D. Truskowski Funeral Home is in charge of arrangements. Edna Molesky of Weatherly. Memorial was Saturday at 11 a.m. from the Philip J. Jeffries Funeral Home. Friends may call from 10 to 11 a.m. Matushka Barbara J. Mahaly, formerly of Hazleton. Funeral is Friday at 10 a.m. in the St. Nicholas Russian Orthodox Church. Friends may call Thursday at the church from 5 to 7 p.m. Arrangements are by the Simon S. Rusin Funeral Home. And Margaret L. Tamia, formerly of West Hazleton. Arrangements will be announced by the Turnbach Funeral Home. Tonight's obituaries have been brought to you by the Smilax Floral Shop located on 15th Street in Hazleton. For delivery to all local funeral homes, call 570-454-0111. And by Mia's, once again, the Hazleton area's #1 rated restaurant. Call 570-501-3410 for information on luncheon packages.
SSPTV Sports on News 13 with Fred Barletta Jr.
Well, if you remember, coming into the Scranton-Wilkes-Barre series, the Norfolk Tide was really struggling to score some runs. They seemed to break out of it a little bit right here in northeastern Pennsylvania. Maybe Russ Kanzler was giving them cold pizza or something. We'll find out. But last night, they went back home, and whatever they were taking, they brought it with them because offense was not a problem. They banged out 11 hits, scored 6 runs, and they doubled up on Columbus. And Columbus is a team that's really going through some tough times right now, and the Tide took advantage of it. As you're watching some of the highlights there, as we said, they banged out nearly a dozen hits and doubled them up in the score. Now, the downside to all of this is one of the guys that was not involved in the hit parade was Russ Kanzler. He did walk, he did score a run, but when he didn't walk, he was 0 for 3. So he's still doing okay down there, but we'd like to see him get on one of those hot streaks, get that average up near 300. I would bet he's going to do that. And if you're wondering where are those statistics, take a look right there. He's hitting 271, power numbers very, very good. 11 homers, 43 runs batted in, and that's doing okay. I'd like to see him cut down on the strikeouts just a little bit, but the on-base percent in the high 360s. So a lot of good numbers still there. Hey, let's face it, this guy can play AAA baseball. He's won an MVP in that league, and he's still doing okay in his 3rd season at AAA. Now, the Rail Riders, they got a shutout last night over Syracuse, and that's nice to see. Good pitching always is something that you like to put on top of the order. Now, the Tide didn't gain any games because Durham, 3-1 winners over the Iron Pigs last night, so status quo there. There's your schedule for tonight. And you see it's basically all the games that we've talked about. As far as the major leagues, Joe Madden, boy, they've cooled off the Toronto Blue Jays. They came into the Trop winners of 11 in a row, and the Rays have taken the first 2 games in the series. They'll see if they can make it 3 straight tonight. We'll wait and see. Pirates out on the West Coast. Yankees had their first walk-off win of the season last night. They'll play game 2 in the Bronx. The Mets and the White Sox, it was an ugly game last night. And the Phils rebounded after their ugly loss the night before. And so that brings us to the Major League standings. As you take a look, we can start it out, first of all, in the American League. And as you see in that American League East, we're ready to go into the month of July, and every team is playing .500 baseball in the AL East. That's really going to be a knockdown, drag-them-out affair, I think, right to the end. So you can see, even though the Rays are in 4th place, they're just 4 games off the pace of the first-place Red Sox. In the National League, the Phillies, well, order number 1, you want to get to the .500 mark, and they're still shy of that by 4 games, so we'll see what they could do there. But, as you see, they're still 8 games off the pace. Now, I'm not making any predictions here, but the Phils, well, got to get it, put it together, folks. That's as simple as it is. Mets and Marlins, do you really care? They're so far off the pace. The Cardinals, they may be the best team in the league, and I think it's time to officially say the Pittsburgh Pirates are for real. As we said, we're coming up to Independence Day, and the Pirates are 17 games over 500. And tonight's sports brought to you by Mountain Speedway down in St. John's. Hey, exciting car racing real close to home. This Saturday, they got 6 awesome divisions. They got modified, sports modified, late models, street stocks, the 4-cylinders, and the factory stocks. Food specials, many giveaways. They've got huge fireworks display. The grandstand will open at 5. The racing starts at 6, and the price is right. $10 for admission. If you're 10 and under, it's free. That's St. John's, Pennsylvania, Mountain Speedway in the beautiful Drums Valley, right here, close to home.
And plenty more news and information headed your way on News 13. Day 3 of violent crimes in Greater Hazleton, what the city and the DA are doing to curb it. That story and much more news when the 13 crew comes right back.